We're so not professional.
Nope.
And actually, yeah, so not professional.
Well, yeah. Let's see. I even have some things sticking out.
Oh, we should probably say hello. Hello, I am Shirley.
Hi, I'm Nadieh.
And thank you so much for joining us on this, if anybody's here, joining us for this impromptu ShirleyChats. It is currently 9 p.m. in the Netherlands, and so I am in my PJs, which is just like a Berkeley sweatshirt. And then you can't see, but
I'm in my like PJ
bottoms.
I
mean, we're both in PJ bottoms. And so this kind of came about because yesterday? I was like, Nadieh. Well, mostly it's just because I haven't live streamed in 2 months.
You had a good reason. You were out exploring Tokyo.
Thank you. You always make me feel so much better about myself. This is why I actually. This is the only reason why I work with Nadieh, by the way. It just makes me feel so good about myself. Actually, so I think Stormrider gave us a purple heart. Thank you. And Julius34 says hello from France. Thank you. Hello. Thank you for joining. Yeah, so what do we have? Oh, yeah, so yesterday I was like, Nadieh, since we're together.
Yes. Why don't we do a ShirleyChats?
ShirleyChats.
Why didn't we think of this
earlier? Because, yeah, I don't know. I mean, so the last time we were together was in Singapore in January for JSConf Asia, which was really fun and really cool and really, really humid. But before that was September, huh?
Yeah, for DC Uncle.
Yeah, and then we did like a bunch of...
Oh, then we did a ShirleyChat with Sarah. And
that was super fun. And what was... we got so drunk by the middle. Like, Sarah was just drunk.
You got very drunk.
Did I get drunk?
No, well...
Sarah was drunk. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, no. Sarah and I had a great time drinking. Stormrider said, you should apply for a job at Wall Street Journal. They have a cool viz team there. They do, huh? Yeah. Yeah, we've been both really enjoying the things. I mean, it's always been really good at
Yeah, but also I find it interesting to see now that other newspapers are really stepping up their game in terms of viz. It isn't just the New York Times anymore. Washington Post, Wall Street Journal, and the Financial Times, and
the Financial Times has been doing it. You said that Reuters.
Reuters has been amazing, and the South China Morning Post.
Yeah, so Nadieh was a panelist judge at a Malofie.
I'm not completely sure, but I think it's Malofie.
Oh,
I'm not completely sure.
Malofie. Oh, thank you so much. Dr. Lukenstein says, hey, just wanted to thank you for your stream. Super helpful for someone just getting started with React D3. Thank you so much for joining and looking at the streams. And I swear, they will come back soon. Soon. Although, it might just start becoming Vue because I learned Vue a month ago or so, and I've been really enjoying it. And Fear105 says Dutch newspapers can still learn something from those international newspapers. Do you want to say something about that?
I have to admit, I don't read as much Dutch newspapers as I should. I do know that there was a really cool article just now by the Correspondent about street names in Amsterdam. They sort of mined that data to see which were female, which were male. Yeah, it was actually maybe you saw the article that was published by the site in Germany. That was 2 weeks before, but that was completely coincident. So these people at the Correspondent, they started months ago with their data collection and stuff, and then the site came out with an amazing article about street names in Germany and female versus male and other things. It's like, oh my god, they had the same
idea.
But yeah, no, it was done really well in the Correspondent. They actually looked at there were some differences between the German and the Dutch one, and that made the comparison interesting. But I found that to be really good, and just generally that that newspaper, or I guess online newspaper, is doing some nice stuff.
What's it? What can you say it slowly for?
De correspondent.
Oh, like the correspondent?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's not that different.
Okay, but like in Dutch.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I know that at the Volkskrant, which means like newspaper of the people.
Okay.
There's some really good people active there.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is actually really cool to know, because like, I don't know, being from like America, we think we're the center of the world.
Yeah.
So it's really good to know about like.
There's nobody's newspapers outside of America. I mean, it's still. I mean, the top of the class is. I can say America's doing really well, but there are others coming up and doing a good job.
Oh yeah, and I was saying to Nadieh yesterday or the day before or something. I'll be in Beijing next week. Next week. And also a little bit some other parts of China, and then back to Beijing, and then I'm meeting up with. I don't actually know how to say her name.
I probably know it better.
It's not Chinese.
Oh.
SB Chen. I think her like handle is like Spepe Chen. I don't know. She was in Data Stories. And they're around the world. 2017 around the world, and she was the one in Beijing. And I was like, I didn't know China was doing open data. Although I'm like, how is China open data? But yeah, so I'm hopefully meeting up with her in sometime next week, and then getting to talk to her. And she works, I think, in something called Data Factory in Beijing, and she apparently has some friends that are working at newspapers in China. So I'm like really excited to talk to her. Now I think about it, maybe I should ask her for ShirleyChats too.
Yeah, you should.
I should.
Yeah,
I'll ask her.
You should get back into your system.
Yeah. And then Abdullah says hello from Pakistan. Hello, thank you so much for joining. And Stormrider says, what is the most... Oh, questions. Yes, please. Thank you so much. Please ask us questions about DataViz, about Datasketches, but not hard questions about Datasketches. What is the most challenging thing about visualization development? Making it responsive, run on multiple screen sizes devices. Would you like to answer that? Just giving you all the hard questions.
Oh, okay. I feel like we discussed that during the previous days. It's typically interactions and performance and browser bugs and responsive. Can that all be it? I don't know. It depends on the project to figure out what's most difficult. Some projects, they don't need that much interaction, so then it's mostly responsive, for example. Another project doesn't really need to make it responsive because their audience is not expected to really go there on mobile, but they want many interactions. And there's this issue where you can have where if you have a click, but you also have a hover active, you sort of need to deactivate the hover.
Or drag and click.
Or
having a drag interaction and a click interaction on the same element.
Yeah, because the one goes before the other, so you need to have all of these. I always have these sort of click active, hover active, or other variables that I set to true or false, and these. And if that gets any more complex, because clients typically, you start out small. And everything works fine, and then the client's like, yeah, but maybe this can happen on a click, or maybe on a hover. If the click is active, maybe the hover can still do something. Maybe we can have a double click. Or something else.
Wait, I don't think I've ever implemented a double click.
I have a client right now that is asking me to implement maybe a double click, or at least you click once, and then maybe if you click it again, maybe not sound quickly after each other, something else would happen. But I find complex interactions most difficult, maybe even more difficult than making it responsive. But that really depends. Some layouts can easily be sort of made responsive by changing the layout, or even work still if you make it smaller, but take away some elements that aren't truly critical.
Necessary.
Yeah, exactly. So that one's better. Browser bugs are an issue. I had one this week that made me, for Safari, with transparent gradients turning out black because their base color is black and others are white, which makes much more sense. And then I had to write, instead of 2 nice, beautiful lines, it had to become this many lines, and I make changes other places, and that became a little less performant. Which brings me to the last thing that is most frustrating to me, is when I have to compromise on my visual due to browser performance. Yes. The browser cannot keep up, so I need to figure out something else, or do it differently, or do it more complex to get closest to the thing I have in mind. Yeah.
That was a lot. Actually, so 2 things that you made me think of. So number 1 is I feel like all of that can be summarized as like kind of the last 20%. Like I always like saying the last 20%, right? Except for maybe the performance is also a little bit, but like there's always the first 80% that's like kind of like the ideating and designing and like doing the like big general shape of the visualization, and then there's like all of these finicky little last bits that aren't fun, but then like really, really important and necessary for the visualization itself. And that's like what you said about the performance and about the interactions. Although I'm of the type that actually really enjoys not the hovers and the clicks or too many of them, but I really love interactions of like I love my filters and like all of that kind of explorable interactions. So that actually, to me, probably comes in the 80%. And then there's the mobile. Actually, for me, mobile is the absolute worst. That's my number 1 hate because I feel like I've already spent all of this time thinking and designing this kind of visualization that fits perfectly in this amount of space, and now you're telling me that I have to adapt it and strip it down to like a smaller screen. And I understand that for most things, most people are coming from a mobile device, but like it bothers me so much. So mobile is my absolute hate. And then there was one last thing you said of browser bugs, which actually reminds me of like that. The second thing I wanted to mention is so we can say this. So we both most recently became Google developer experts. And that's been really, for me, like we haven't really talked too much about this with each other, but for me it's been really, really cool because one of the things that we get to be part of is monthly meetings about what's coming down the pipeline for Chrome. So it means that we've been missing out on Firefox and Safari and Edge. And but it means that we're kind of like I've been getting to see like what are the new features for Chrome and maybe some of the other browsers, which I've recently kind of in the past few months realized how important it is for me to kind of keep track of what's going on in the browser, which is one of the most fundamental tool sets in our tool sets. So yeah, those are my points.
Good points.
Thank you. And let me say, Palamago says, ladies, congrats. Thank you so much. Congrats on it says, I'm from Argentina. Hello. Living in Chile, and I'm working on Dataviz freelance too. Thanks for your inspiring job. Thank you so much. I'm not sure what we were congratulated on, but just
having the live stream.
The live stream. Okay, thank you so much for the congratulations. And Stormwriter says, thanks so much for sharing this. You guys are super Makio64, hey, I feel like it's been a while. What's the concept of this stream? Is it kind of Japanese podcast?
I don't speak Japanese, so that's, I guess, no.
Yeah, I speak Japanese, but I'm not Japanese. I think it's just a live stream. So this channel is mostly me coding data visualizations, and once in a while, if I'm like around friends, then I drag them into what I call ShirleyChats, and I ask them to like talk with me for an hour. And somehow we've managed to fill 23 minutes already, Nadieh.
Is it that? Oh, wow.
Wow. Oh, wait, but we didn't start until 7 or 8 minutes in because it always takes me a while to set some things up. Thank you. So, Magio says, sorry, I thought you were in Japan right now. You are absolutely correct. I was in Japan until Sunday. So that's like, what, 4 or 5 days ago? So, I should talk about Japan some other time, but sometime. But it's been, it's so much. Actually, we didn't talk about. Oh, we talked a little bit about Japan, but we didn't talk about like why I decided to go there. Did we talk about that?
I don't think you mean on the live stream?
No, just like in general, have I told you about like why? Other than the fact that I love their food and their cleanliness and their
I thought it had to do with the more museum art installation, getting to know the Japanese.
Thank you for remembering.
Yeah. Oh, you still know?
Yeah. So no, I went because a few years back I saw an exhibition called Crystal Universe by Team Lab, which is a digital creative agency in Japan. And I was so blown away by the way that they were using technology as a medium for their art. And this was in an art and science museum. And I felt like I hadn't really seen that in the museums I have been visiting in America or some of the ones in Europe. And I felt like or the art museums and even the modern art museums that I was visiting, I just kind of hadn't seen that combination before that felt so contemporary. And so I just got a gut feeling that I needed to be in Japan, be immersed in that, and learn from that environment. I'm not 100% sure if I'm getting, like, I always feel like I'm not doing enough to get enough out of it, but I think in other ways, I've been getting a lot out of just, like, being in Japan. And I think one of the biggest things was, like, coming from California, where there's, like, no seasons, it's been really great to be in a country that not only has really distinct seasons, but are so inspired by their seasons. Like, their food and, like, their craftsmanship and like their art is so inspired by their nature and everything that's around them, and that's been really, really great to experience. Not quite sure what I've gotten yet out of the whole like creative digital art part, but
you've been in contact. You were working in a co-space with the design agency.
Oh yeah.
You were in contact with
Misaki,
the 3JS girl that can do magic.
She's absolutely amazing. I'm like so in love with like what she can build. Her portfolio is at blackout-sketch.com, I think. Misaki, and she's like her handle I can never quite remember on Twitter. It's like 4 M's and like it's like Musasabi or something like that. But she does like absolutely beautiful things with WebGL. And I think we both really love what she does. And so I've been hanging out with her, and it's like 4 M's Musasabi. Yeah, so I finally remembered how that went. But yeah, so I've been hanging out with her and like been at least really surrounded by creative people. Then that's not necessarily, I don't think the osmosis thing is quite working out here.
Okay. But as long as you're getting things out of it, being inspired, renewing your energy.
I think so. And I'll be going back. So I'm in Amsterdam with Nadieh right now. I'm here because of React Amsterdam on Friday. And so we're using this opportunity to work together on something.
On something. Datasketches related.
But then I'll be going back to China for a little bit, and then I'll be going back to Japan for another month before I go back to my regular life in San Francisco.
Fun.
I know. Stormwriter, what is next for D3? Are there any cool frameworks coming out to challenge D3?
Oh, I wonder that.
What is next for D3? I mean, V5 kind of just quietly came out.
Yeah. Were there many changes? I feel like the only big thing was that D3.Q was, how do you see that?
Was it cut?
Yeah, and now it's D3 fetch and you need to use promises.
Oh, I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, so don't just update D3 in your file. D3Q won't work anymore, I think.
Oh, is that why yesterday I was trying to use like D3.tsv and it wasn't like working out as I expected? Maybe that's why. But yeah, I feel like it just super quietly just like landed.
Yeah.
Are there any cool frameworks that challenge D3? I don't know, but observables has been relatively fun too.
Well, observables is sort of...
It's not D3.
No.
It's not like challenging D3.
It's not challenging. And it also uses D3.
Yeah. But I didn't answer that question at all.
It's more the next thing Mike is working on.
Yeah, basically.
The creator of D3. But in terms of really, I feel that there's at least not on my, like, in what I am aware of, there's nothing that is sort of coming nearer to becoming bigger as a visualization tool that is really the same as, or could replace D3. I mean, you have Tableau, of course, which is on a completely different sideline of having an amazingly big community that's doing great stuff. But I see that as separate from D3.
Yeah, I feel like if by D3 we're talking about a library that will replace building custom data visualizations on the web, then I don't think there really is. And I feel like they're really, at least the way that we've been using D3 has like kind of really changed throughout the years. Like I used to use D3 for rendering the visualizations. It's like I used to use the selection, like the D3 selection module a lot. And these days, because I use D3 a lot more with like React and most recently with Vue, I don't actually use that kind of the enter, update, exit, that core data binding part of D3 anymore, and I actually use D3 a lot more for like, for the calculations, for like the scales and for the shapes and for the layouts and like all of that data calculations part. And I feel like that part, to me personally, is now the most essential part of D3, and I feel like there really doesn't need to be like another library that comes and replaces that part.
No, you're right. It's the same for me, but then for me it's more that I find myself doing more and more with Canvas, so HTML Canvas. That is the part I actually draw it on the screen with, but I use D3 for all the things as you have as surrounding it, the scales or the Voronoi for mouse overs, and it would be the same as saying that you need a new replacement for Lodash, or but this one is so geared towards smart things for visualization that I guess
yeah. Although we did talk about this earlier about how like I feel like neither of us really used it that much because like it was just quietly put into V4. I feel like there wasn't as much fanfare with it, where like D3 Shapes and D3 Geo and a lot of those libraries, a lot of those modules actually support rendering directly to Canvas. Like you don't, and it supports that. But like, I only recently remembered that and started using it. Maybe it's just because like, you started in V3 also, right? Like I feel like we both started like V2, V3 or something.
Yeah, I started in V3 doing D3, yes. Yeah. And then with the start of Datasketches, we started on V4.
Yeah, but then like, I guess because we started before V4, like both of us aren't that used to like Canvas support in D3.
No.
Yeah.
No, I only used that part, like writing it to the context in D3, maybe for the card captors and curves that we made 2 or 3 months ago. That was the first time, so it took a year and a half for me to have that sink in.
Yeah, me too. Like recently, like on some, I can't remember which project it was. I like suddenly remember. I think I was using like D3 Shape and D3 Line or Arc or something, and I was like, wait, I don't have to do the Canvas commands. Like I can just say like the arc or whatever, and then pass in the context, and they will draw like.
And you can have the what's the name again? The interpolations, like the nice curves.
Oh,
which is a lot harder to do in just plain Canvas if you only have the points.
Basis
curves.
That.
Something with D3 curves.
Yeah,
that's something is super handy to then just really still use D3 for and then write it out onto the canvas.
Yeah. So basically, D3 is still extremely, extremely useful.
Yeah.
And we don't really see a need to replace all of that, like, kind of like the utility part of drawing visualizations. Like, I feel like the actual drawing to SVG or to Canvas or something will probably always switch around, like, a little bit how we do it, but, like, the actual utility calculations part of it is just so essential.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just hoping that browsers get better, more performant on animations like CSS being GPU accelerated, but SVG animations not.
Oh yeah. Oh, and we were talking about web workers, and you were telling me about web worklets.
Web worklets. Yes, there's a painting, canvas painting.
Yeah.
Something.
We probably shouldn't talk about this because we were supposed to go and research it afterwards, and then we never did. So now we still don't really know what we're talking about.
Yes.
Bagayask. Sorry if I butchered that. Hi Shirley and Nadieh, love the work you two do and make me want to aspire to what you two do so beautifully. Nadieh, I really enjoy listening to you on the Super Data Science podcast.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that was a great podcast. I got so many great reactions.
Really?
It was a bit weird. It was I was having these technical problems, so it was already late for the podcast. And the people that listen don't know that because it was recorded
yeah.
And I'd just been out running before that, and I was just like completely hyped on. I don't know what. I'm like doing this with my hands and explaining how I got from data science to data visualization.
Maybe that enthusiasm really came through.
I guess
I need to listen to that one. I guess. Yeah.
Don't see it.
Wait, it's recorded?
Yeah, it's also recorded.
Wait, maybe I should watch it.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're doing one of those like reacting to blah blah blah, and we're just like watching your podcast and reacting to that. I'm not gonna go there. No. Thank you so much. Wanted to ask, did you have to learn a lot of math to do some of the visualizations you worked on, i.e. Lord of the Rings and the Cardcaptor Sakura?
So can I say yes and no? The thing is that before I studied astronomy, so I have a background of years of heavy math and linear algebra and quantum physics, and so in the sense that did I have to learn new math? No.
Mm-hmm.
Did I have to use math in general? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But it's never. I'm probably biased, but I truly mean this. It's never truly hard. It's cosine.
It's never truly hard.
No, it's like single variable math, like y equals a times x plus b. Finding
the slope formula.
Slope formulas. The sines and cosines to figure out how a point sort of moves across.
It's like high school math, high school algebra and high school trig. And have you ever had to do calculus?
And then I have to sort of think what makes it calculus. Is that, differential
derivatives and differentials are.
Is that part of high school?
Not the high school I went to. I don't think.
Anyway, differentials. I don't believe I've had to
integrals.
Not for the visualization part. No, I've used algorithms to do data analysis beforehand, and I've used other things. But typically, when I get to that point, I prefer doing using packages from other people. Mm-hmm. Maybe for the exoplanet visualization I made 2 years ago, I wanted to have the exoplanets go on their actual orbit, so using the ellipticity and making sure the second law of Kepler is true, which means that the planet actually moves faster the closer it gets to the star, because the orbits aren't completely circular kind of curve. And then I had to do some derivatives here and there to get that, to get the actual physics working.
Yeah,
I think that was the toughest math I had to do. But other than that, you can do it as long as you like solving puzzles.
Yeah. I think personal experience, also high school algebra and trigonometry. Trigonometry was like the first time I was like doing. The first time I tried to do a visualization by myself, like 6 years ago or something. 5 or 6 years ago or something, and I was like, what's that thing again that's like Soka, and my boyfriend Alex was like, Soka-toa, and I was like, oh yeah, that. Never in high school did I think that I would ever use trigonometry in real life ever again.
I use that one so often because for me it's like, okay, is it that way or is it that way? I know which one belong to each other, but never. I always forget it's that one divided by that one.
Yeah, Soka-toa.
Soska-toa.
Soska-toa?
Soska-toa.
Soska-toa. Oh, is that the Dutch one? And then the one time that there was like an integral or something in the formula I found, and I was like, this is it. I'm done. Table flip, I'm done. It was like, just done. MGen13, love you guys' work. Can you guys talk a bit about how you started learning database, specifically D3, and maybe tips for beginners getting started with D3 with some experience in JavaScript already?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. You basically, so Nadieh is one of those amazing people who like picked up D3, picked up HTML, CSS, JavaScript because you wanted to learn D3.
Yeah.
You picked up JavaScript along the way with D3. And this was like, what, 3 or 4 years ago or something?
No, this was maybe the middle of 2013. Okay. That's when I started with that. But I didn't start using it like daily. Daily is for the last, since beginning of 2015, I guess.
Okay. Yeah. Still, yeah.
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 But yeah, so I learned D3 I went to a data science conference in Santa Clara, the Strata conference, and there I saw an introduction to D3 course. I didn't know what it was, but I saw it had something to do with database, so I just sort of went in. And there were 2 people who I now know, but didn't know at the time.
Mike, and who was the other person?
No, it was Jerome.
Coutier.
Who's now at Uber, and it was the writer of the lovely interactive data visualization for the web. It's called Murray.
Wait, when was Mike Freeman? Mike Freeman.
Oh yeah, that's when I realized 2 years later that database is my passion.
Okay, sorry. Okay, back to 2013.
Yeah, so somewhere in 2013. And I went there, and I was so amazed that you could hover over these circles, and they would grow bigger, and they could change colors, and you could do stuff with them, and I was hooked. When I came back, I wanted to be able to do that as well, and so I got Scott's book, Interactive Data Visualization for the Web, and read through that because he had an online version of it for the first few chapters at that point, and it took me a week, and then I had my first scatter plot where if you went over a circle, it would grow bigger and smaller.
You have a blog post that talks about how you got into data visualization and all the projects that you had.
Yes,
I read it.
Yeah, and but I was a data scientist, so I was using mostly data visualization to explain things we found in the data or how our algorithms found insights or stories. But slowly, I found that for some of the algorithms, more special visualization worked better. For example, when you do an association analysis to see which products people often buy together, like pasta and pasta sauce, which is used for like supply chain things, promotional things, you can really use a network really, really well to show connections between products. Or another, like a self-organizing map, which is a clustering technique you can use. Hexagonal heat maps, which also have interactive things. At least that's how I sort of convinced my bosses or managers that these special things they matter too, and that's how it's still. But I did a lot of it in my own time, learning D3 until I got to the point where I could use it well enough to actually use it on the job.
And convince them was 2015 or so, early 2015.
Yes,
because that was when you started doing it more full time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. And you?
Oh, me. So I graduated. So I did a CS minor, computer science minor in college, and then I graduated and joined like a big data company. You know this most of the story, right? Yeah. Big data company, doing front end development, and so I actually came in. I mean, I didn't have that much JavaScript experience, but I came in to do a JavaScript job. And then a few weeks into the first job was asked to pick up D3 because D3 was this new, interesting, intriguing library back then. So I guess that was like V2 or something like that. And so I was asked to kind of learn that because I was like the new kid on the block that didn't even yet have like any important things to do. And so found it extremely confusing because I had only been coding for about a year back then, and I think the thing that made me really click was like this one time I went to a quote unquote hackathon, like a afternoon hackathon kind of thing, and didn't make anything. It was supposed to be a data visualization hackathon using D3.
Oh wow.
And it was, I think, actually organized. I knew it was organized by Kai Chang, and I think also with Ian Johnson. And didn't end up making anything, but spent a whole like 2 hours in the afternoon just asking Kai a bunch of questions about D3 code that I didn't understand.
Yeah.
And then after he answered all those questions was like when it all clicked for me, and then I think after that it all kind of made sense. So I guess my kind of how I learned D3 is kind of not, traditional in that like I just asked Kai a bunch of questions, whereas like you read Scott Murray's book, and that's like you can be like, oh yeah, read Scott's book because it's like a really great resource if you're coming from a non code background. No, like he does a really great job of introducing it, assuming no code experience.
No web code experience.
Yeah,
I can't say from like completely non-programming experience because I did know. I mean, I knew how to program it, not in the way you can program, but I knew how to write my for loops and if
yeah. That's true. That's fair. And so I'm gonna cheat in my answer. Of I believe the question I've been talking. The question was tips for beginners getting started with D3. So I'm going to cheat in my answer because I got that question relatively often enough that, Ian asked me, but then I made a whole workshop. I made a bunch of workshops about, I've made a bunch of intro D3 workshops, and the most recent, a lot of them are available, all of them are available online, and the most recent is the one for front-end masters. Intro to D3 workshop, and it's like a whole day course, and I basically structured that as how I would have loved to learn D3 when I was starting out, kind of lays it out, kind of also with the years of experience teaching D3, Intro D3. I think I have been teaching Intro D3 since like late 2013 or early 2014 kind of thing. Early 2014, so all of that experience is together, and I recorded that last year. So by then I probably had taught a bunch of, so all of those experiences together, and I put all of that into the Intro D3 course. And I actually have 2 more coming with front-end masters. Did I tell you this?
No, you didn't. Maybe you did. Maybe.
Yeah, okay.
Elaborate.
So I have 2 more coming in this summer, in August-ish. I think they're starting to promote it. So one of them is data visualization for React developers. So it's kind of like if you are currently a front-end developer that does primarily React or something similar, here is kind of like the kiddie ride, like bunny slope way of getting into D3. It like actually involves no D3 like enter, update, exit, data binding, like the part that the part that confuses people, even like kind of developers that are like WTF, like why, so it doesn't have that part, but introduces you to the parts of the library that are really helpful for like drawing the visualization or calculating the visualization, and that is supposed to kind of like ease into then the intro D3 workshop I already have. And then finally I think we've settled on custom data visualizations, or maybe intermediate to advanced D3. We're working on the title. I think it's called like building custom data visualizations, something along those lines.
Okay.
And that
it's all about marketing.
Yeah, I feel like we settled on a nice title. But the gist of that one is you've taken the Intro D3, you feel really comfortable with like kind of like the core concepts, and now you want to take it that step further, use more of that library, kind of develop the way of thinking necessary to kind of just go beyond, say, like the tree map or the bar chart or the like. How can you, like you say, how can you remix?
Yeah, what's out there?
What's out there, to make the custom sort of visualizations that you might need for those more tangled or gnarly data sets.
Cool.
So yeah, those are the two things I have coming. And then I have like some in-person workshops also in the summer. But yeah, it's a long way to say, please just check out my workshops. Palamago, speaking about web-based interactive data visualization projects, do you have any kind of boilerplate or something?
I think my answer can be very short. Again, because I come from like a self-taught, everything at once, kind of never had any proper CS training. My boilerplate is the simple HTML template that has a head and a body, then it has a div that has an ID of chart, and then there's a script.
And it works.
And it works. I do have. I did recently start using Live Server from NPM, so that you also have live reload. So I really love the live reading. That means that if I make any changes in my file and save it, I don't actually have to reload the browser window, which I feel saves me half an hour a day. And sometimes I make them.
Can you tell that story?
Sure. But I also think does that what was it again? Oh yes.
Sorry.
Sometimes I forget I don't have it on because I'm doing something, and I might actually be staring at my browser window for 10 seconds before I'm like, oh right, I have to refresh myself. Yeah.
The story I wanted to tell was Nadieh and I are currently working on a client project together.
Yes, continue.
And I had set up something with the help of my friend Brian Holt. And except the build system didn't have library load. Nadieh literally was like, yeah, I'm gonna work in a separate directory with my own setup so that I can have library load. And then once you get that library load thing in, then I'll plug it back in there. She didn't even want to come into the project.
I am so dependent on live reload these days. I have no build system except for I need my live reload.
Yeah. So I think we don't have any like database specific boilerplate. Cause I guess like I use a lot of React. So I use Create React app, and that just because I don't know how build systems work. Build systems confuse me and intimidate me. So that is my quote unquote boilerplate. Like that just sets up the whole project for me. That has live reload. And then recently, in the past month, I've picked up Vue. So I've also been using the Vue CLI, which also, like Create React app, kind of like just, does the whole build system out of the box. And those are really nice.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy them a lot. But in terms of data viz, neither of us really have like a boilerplate for it. Just because like I think every time we work on something new, like it really is something new that's like pretty custom to that data. And that's why like clients come to us, like so that we can make something really kind of specifically for their data set and what they're trying to communicate and what they're trying to tell.
Yeah.
So
again, one more addition on that is that I don't yet use React or Vue, but if there is something of a boilerplate that I have ever used, it was Budo by Matt Dazzle. I probably said that wrong. But he, if you look for Matt and Budo, you can find it, and he has a set of really great tutorials on his blog on like rapid prototyping for people like me who don't know that much about Node and stuff, but still want to use some of the functions.
Mm-hmm.
So that one might be interesting if you want something.
Misaki and I were talking about this so Matt Dazzle is his Twitter handle, and his actual name is like something French, like
Delorier.
And she and I were talking about how amazing he is because like he does all of these amazing stuff with WebGL and Blender and whatever 3GS and whatever other magic that I don't understand.
Yeah.
And then he's also great with like build systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he also he was also super nice. So I asked him questions and like, hey, I'm using Budo, this isn't working. And it's like, oh, because I forgot some. Then he's really nice and in pointing out that it's a really stupid error I
made. Incredibly nice guy. And then like, yeah, he just, I just follow his Twitter and I'm just like, jaw drops. Yes. And then like, you know, he's just over there chilling, making build systems. And I'm like,
yeah, he also did Shader School part of that.
Yeah.
Or like StackGL, he's a contributor. I don't even know. Yeah, this is like jealousy's just dripping out. That's
Oh, it's Mike! Oh, it's Mike! Wait, sorry, did we already miss Mike? Sorry, Mike.
Don't care.
But that was a while ago, so maybe we hope you're still here. Hey, Mike. Hey, Mike.
Also really cool artist. You should check him out. Mike.
Sorry.
You mean his Twitter handle? Oh,
no.
Culture. You say.
No.
Culture design, right? Culture.
Sorry.
I'm sorry.
We're very sorry. But Mike also, Mike's handle, culture, like KULTUR design, also beautiful, generative, so processing, very processing based, generative artwork, and Mike has been posting some really interesting experiments on Instagram.
Oh!
Yeah, I've been following that.
We should check out his Instagram. Maybe
I was about to say very shapely, but that's the wrong. It just has a lot of shapes. But shapely is not the right word. Sorry. Hey, Mike. Hey.
Anyway.
Robert is here too.
Hey.
Wait, but we need to wait. Hold on. Okay. Gilius McCuffey, lock your website. I don't get that one. Stormrider. Gilius 34 like in video game. What? Cool Barnacle, you both are great. Purple Heart, thank you. Any tip to learn D3? What language or tool do you recommend nowadays? We kind of just went through that like maybe 10 minutes ago. So I'll put this video up on YouTube, which is the same handle as this Twitch. And then please just check that out. I don't know, that's like 40 minutes in or something like that, 45 minutes in maybe. Make sure to check that out because we've talked about learning D3, Quorum, Python, Hi. Imagine if you guys just got into data viz recently, currently working in the BI scene. Let's say you wanted to transition into data journalism and you have the option to go to master's. What program would you choose? How would you tackle this? Oh, I am not qualified to. I am not qualified to answer this at all.
I have no idea what's out there in terms of masters.
Yeah.
Data journalism.
Data journalism. Well, okay, so another bias. So I went to Berkeley. This is my Berkeley sweatshirt. And I hear that Berkeley has a great school of journalism. That's all I got.
Okay.
I think I've heard also Columbia School of Journalism. But yeah, I've talked to maybe like one or two people from the Berkeley School of Journalism, and I think they're starting to have really great like data journalism.
Maybe you can ask that question to Alberto Cairo.
Great
who
answer.
Is now night chair at the University of Miami.
Yeah.
And he used to work for several newspapers.
Yeah.
He's really good, and he really loves to help people out. So
yeah,
that could be.
And Lynn also. Lynn
Cherney, who's now in Paris, connected to university.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Lynn Cherney, which is at Arnicas.
Yeah.
Arnicas on Twitter. She probably also knows some good things.
Yeah. Although hers is now a business school, it seems like, not a journalism school. But I feel like previously she was.
I still think she knows stuff.
Yeah. So those would probably be good resources. Data journalism. I feel like just be in New York.
Yeah, that's what
Be on the East Coast.
Well, there's also NICAR, which is the data journalism conference that is done once a year, which is really big. Good, but I didn't expect that. So, NICAR.
Those are good. Other than that, we're probably not fit to give any advice on this.
All.
Yeah, neither of us are data journalists.
No.
And we're not designers either. So
No.
People call us designers.
Yeah, but we just
do data visualization.
we just kind of.
I'm just putting it out there. We're not designers either. It's Ali. Ali Torben says, "Hi, ladies. Can you share any activities that you do to get your creativity flowing, running, traveling, etc.?" I take a shower. I'm kidding.
That's a good one.
I take a shower.
I have this kind of. So I have a Pinterest. I have Pinterest, and I have boards there. And throughout the year, I save stuff that I find inspiring. And when I start on a new project, I typically just pick a few that I browse through that might have something interesting, and that really helps have some things stick. And other than that, I know it's not traveling, because actually traveling is not, in terms of the travel itself, it's not inspiring, but maybe what you see on the other end of the travel, like in the different country, could be inspiring. But I feel like that has never inspired me to database.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I like your Pinterest a lot. Like, I saw it. So we were working on something yesterday. We were working on something together. Yeah, and that's and not a client project. We work on client projects together, but something that had to happen while we were in person. It was so weird. It was being so like
nicely big,
but like also obnoxiously big. Anyways, so yeah, I saw your Pinterest yesterday, and I was like, oh, it's been a while since I saw your Pinterest, and I should look through it again. It's like very colorful and nice, and like kind of like makes you feel like you're getting to see a part of Nadieh's brain.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, yes. In that sense, it's a personal. Very personal thing of things I like, yeah. Yeah,
and then, so on the topic of Pinterest, I don't usually use Pinterest as much, but, oh my god, it's Phil, Phil already left, sorry.
No.
Hi, Phil says hi, okay, wait, hold on.
No, Mike left.
Wait, Mike left? No, okay, we'll get to that, words. Yes, so I don't use Pinterest as much, but then recently I like remembered that I had a Pinterest board for like a secret Pinterest board for a client, and I looked at it again. I was freshly inspired by past me that had pinned all of those as inspiration, because I completely 4 or 5 months or so had gone by and I had forgotten about it. So there's one, and then for me, I guess it's also I guess like you, not necessarily the exact act of traveling, but like kind of just things around me in my daily life that there isn't like any like I look at birds and I'm inspired, or like the only thing maybe is like when I travel, I love going to the art museums of that city, and I kind of like in that sense I love seeing like what that city is into, and sometimes like looking through art museums, I might be like, oh yeah, like that's great. Or especially like modern or contemporary art museums are really hit or miss, but when they're hit, they're like really, really great for my inspiration. Mm-hmm. But in general, just like kind of like things around me as I pass by, I don't love living in cities, but I love kind of all the commotion that's around me in a city that might be inspiration, but it's not like I look at like.
When I'm starting a project, I don't look outside really. I try and typically find my inspiration online, and sometimes you just, I guess an idea pops in your head while you're starting to think about it. Something just sticks. It's
one of the things that's important though. I find is when I feel like people say this a lot, but like when I'm stuck, taking that walk or taking that break, like putting it down,
and something else, yes.
Like recently, I have a project, and I kind of like put it on pause, and I went out strolling for an afternoon because I was in Japan and cherry blossoms, and then I just kind of like there were so many cherry blossoms, and I had just gone out thinking that like I just want to see cherry blossoms, and I had come back so inspired to like because I was really, really stuck on the layout.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had come back knowing exactly how I wanted to solve that problem. So putting it aside for the afternoon, for the night, for even a few weeks, and like picking up a different project and coming back with that fresh perspective. Like people say that a lot about coding, but I say like this kind of design and stuff also.
Yeah.
So, Black Gask says, either of you have any suggestions where to learn D3 since I'm coming from Python? I feel like we've been answering these kinds of questions. Neither of us really came from Python, so like we don't have any answers specifically on that, but like maybe if you can, when this gets posted to YouTube and archive, just like scroll to like maybe 40 minutes in.
Mm-hmm.
And then around there we answer about like how we got into D3.
Yeah. I got into it from R, so
I
can keep that in mind.
Yeah, and I got into it from JavaScript, I guess, or computer science, general CS. Amjing says, thank you for answering my question, of course. His name is Matt Delorier. Just because you spell it out for us doesn't mean we can.
But no, yeah, hopefully people there can look for it.
You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for posting it so people can Google that. I'm just like, I don't know, if you spell it out, I can't pronounce it. Then Robert was here. He says design. I don't know why Robert said design. Sorry, that's probably like 20 minutes ago. But he says, hello, Shirley and Nadieh. Hey, Robert. Good to see you. Wow, this must have been really long ago because Palamago right here says, thanks, indeed, live reload is amazing.
Yeah.
And then Ruby817 says, hello. Phil says, hi, friends. Good to see you reunited. I can't say not enough bandwidth. Looks like you're having fun. We'll watch later, Phil. Thanks so much for joining.
For a little bit.
For a tiny little bit. Even if it was that tiny little bit, we're really happy about that. And in case, Philippe Receives on Twitter, right?
Yeah.
Receives on Twitter. Amazing cartographic, projections and
also maps in general.
Yeah. So worth very much checking out. Cool Barnacle. Thanks. I'll check it out on YouTube later. Thank you so much. Mike said, I gotta go. See you soon. See you soon.
I don't know.
Are we overlapping somewhere?
I don't know. It'll be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Amsterdam and London are so close, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Although I'll be in London.
OpenVis?
Oh yeah, you might be at OpenVis. So
cool.
you'll probably overlap with him at OpenVis. I'll be in London in June, so I should talk to him about that. I think he's gone though, but Cool Barnacle says, can you share your Pinterest? We'd love to follow you.
Oh, my Pinterest is my first and last name together, so it's pinterest.com/Nadieh Bremer. Should I spell that?
But I guess so.
NadiehBremer. Hope that helps.
Black Gask says, I want to get into database freelancing. Do you have any suggestions on how to get into that? Thanks for answering my questions. I feel like that's a very long can of worms.
I think the most important, if I were to say that in like one sentence, it's have your database portfolio out on the web for people to see.
Oh, that's a good one.
And it has to have stuff in it.
Oh yeah. Make it beautiful like Nadieh's.
Or like Shirley's.
Mine's like out of date.
Wait, in your mind, the new version is beautiful.
Thank you.
Create stuff, create database stuff. It's like you're designing. You need to. People need to be able to see what your style is, what you can do. What are your chops?
I like that advice that people give. That's like put into your work on projects. Like personal projects, if that's what needs to happen. Work on projects and put in projects in your portfolio that you enjoy making, that you want client projects, similar client projects for. like whatever you put into your portfolio is what your clients will come for.
Yeah.
Adding on to that, I think for me, the important part, so that would be like making sure you get clients and like hopefully having a steady stream of clients. I want to make absolutely no, like I want to dash any fantasy you have that this is going to be a lucrative, like an easy lucrative job, like, you know, switch or whatever like that. Like, you know, if you go into freelancing, it's going to be fun and free and like make lots of money, and like I want to dash all of those fantasies because it is hard. Mm-hmm. It is stressful.
Mm-hmm. It's also fun, but yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so it's fun and it's freeing, but it's also, there's also that other side that's like really stressful. Yeah. And like, when will my next client come in? Like, how do I invoice? Like, how do I negotiate my rates? And like,
you being sole responsible, there's no manager in between you who can take the brunt if things don't go quite the way, or the client wants too much and you're like, wait, that's not in the scope, how do I
that's true, like when the deadlines that go over, and like, but most importantly for me, because you gave a really great, like you've covered a really great point. If I was to give one piece of advice, it's have enough in your savings. Like, have enough in your savings to assume that, you know, you might not get a steady stream of clients for 6 months or like a good few months. Like, you probably will get clients. You should hopefully get clients, but just have that financial buffer, because having that financial safety net will also allow you to take on clients that are good for you and for your portfolio and for your future kind of self. Mm-hmm. The worst that can happen is you don't have a good financial buffer and you take clients out of desperation, and that's kind of where all of those like bad horror stories of freelancing comes in, of like the clients that are too demanding or too like don't pay you enough, or like ask too much, or so just have the financial freedom and the financial buffer, so that you can make decisions on the clients and projects to take based on whether they're good for you and not because you're desperate for the money. Yeah. I think Robert says, how is it to work with the high profile and otherwise interesting clients? Any interesting knowledge sharing either way? Unrelated, any thoughts on the future of tools, methods, processes? What are you interested in? And we should probably start wrapping this up, actually. And let me just say, Palamago, I made this experimental database some time ago about Messi's goals. Check it out if you want. palamago.github.io/Messi, MESSI-500. There's more questions that are coming.
Oh no.
So I'm gonna read out all of the questions, and I think we'll just answer one, and then because we're like way over time. Stormrider asks how you are getting data for the Viz these days. Is it through loading static data JSON or querying APIs? If it's static JSON, have you guys ever had to conceal the data or apply any anti-scraping techniques? That's interesting. Let's go for Roberts though. Roberts was Stormrider says, okay, that was the last one. So the one that was high profile and interesting clients, interesting knowledge to share. That one sounded fun. And as for Stormriders, getting data for personal projects just manually or APIs or automated scripts.
Yeah.
And
data JSON, I'm also querying APIs. Never had to conceal the data really. Never had to do any anti-scraping.
Yeah, none of that. And then if for clients will always provide the data or the API.
Yeah.
Okay, so the last question that we're gonna, the high profile and interesting clients.
Interesting knowledge sharing either way.
How is it to work with the high profile and interesting clients?
How many high profile clients have we worked with?
Yeah, I don't know.
We worked with Google, but that felt very informal because it was with Alberto and Simon, who sort of I mean, we've been following them on Twitter. I think
Yeah.
we've been.
And they're really friendly.
And they're really friendly.
Yeah,
Very
and they're
open.
really easy to work with.
Yeah.
It was like, it was just like, I mean, they're all people. Like, they're all.
Good point.
Yeah, they're all just people. And they're like normal. They're people that like have had great experiences and are really like they're obviously really intelligent and they're really great at what they do. But they're also just people and they tend to be quite humble and they're really fun to work with and like really easy to work with or
yeah.
I
guess it's it can also really be different. Doesn't mean if it's a small company you can have somebody who is just very strict and blunt and that's a word, but somebody at a really big company who is completely enthusiastic, as if it's like, oh my god, I'm so happy we're gonna get this. And it's all the way around. So it doesn't really. I feel like I see no correlation between how big the company is and how much enjoyment I get out of, not apart from the Viz project, but how much enjoyment I get about interacting with the client.
Yeah.
It's really, you can get that sense pretty early on. It's first impression of your first call and a few emails is definitely how it's going to go. Because so if the first emails and especially if the first call just didn't feel right, and you have the luxury of again saying no, go with your gut, because typically during a project it gets intensified. So it typically then goes into the wrong direction of intensifying instead of the happy, enthusiastic direction.
That's a good one. Yeah. Because if I think back to one of the best advice I got for like how to avoid messy fallouts with contracts was just don't work with assholes, was what I was told. And that was great. And that's kind of in line with what you're saying. And if I really think about it, so I guess there was Google and then there's Guardian and we have a few more coming up. And but I feel like, especially the most recent ones, especially the ones that have come from referrals or the ones that are like really enthusiastic about the visualizations, it's, I guess the way that I would describe it is like, it's like, I recently had 3 clients and it just kind of felt like, some of them just felt like kind of like working with friends. I guess because 2 of them were friends. The recent ones really did feel like, I was telling somebody that, because you know that like I'm horrible with mornings, and then while I was in Tokyo, the only time that I could talk to my clients was at 8 a.m. And so I
it's like in the middle of the night for sure.
Yeah, no. As Nadieh knows, I don't wake up until about 9:30 a.m. and my brain is not functional until about 11 a.m. So I've had to do all of these really tough 8 a.m. calls where I roll out of bed at 7:45, I like wash my face, brush my teeth, and I get in front of the computer and I'm just like a complete mess. I look like right now, except even worse, where I'm just like in this like frumpy old sweatshirt and then like my hair is everywhere. And people are like, when I tell people this, I mean I don't tell this voluntarily. People just ask me like, like how's your client calls and all of that. And then they're like, really? And that's okay? And I would be like, yeah, surprisingly they're okay with it because they're friends and they know. They know. Yeah. So that's what it's like. Okay, yeah, thankfully. So, okay, so Stormrider says, thank you so much, guys. You are both great and beautiful. Thank you so much. For joining. Yeah, I was like, Nadieh, do you want to do an impromptu, like, ShirleyChats for fun, like, about Datasketches or something? And Nadieh was like, isn't this too last minute? Oh, and we were talking, like, at, like, 5 p.m.
Which was only 4 hours.
4 hours ago.
3 hours, yeah, it was now 4 hours ago, but it was 3 hours ago before we started. Yeah. But yeah, I guess we got lots of questions.
Yeah, we were like, Nadieh was like, isn't it too last minute? Like, who even joined? I was like, I don't know who joined, but if nobody joins, we'll just like, just chill and leave. But Thank you. So Baka Graska says, thank you so much for the stream. And so this sorry, for this, thank you so much for this session. So happy I caught it live. Eliza SJ says, this was great. Thanks for taking the time. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for making it so fun. And thank you for not letting us just talk to each other,
go off tangent, and talk about other stuff,
and with a silent chat, and we're just like talking to each other like any other normal time. It would just be us talking to each other. Yes, thank you so much. And Jane13 says, thank you for your stream, thank you so much for joining, and thank you so much for your questions, and see you next time. But I should also say, I'm actually having a ShirleyChats in 2 days. Friday at 4 p.m. Amsterdam time, which is, wait, I don't actually know what time that is.
That is
7 a.m. PST?
Yes, 7.
No, 10 a.m. Eastern or so. I'm having ShirleyChats with Tracy Lee, Lady Elite. I'm very excited. She's not Dataviz. She's like, I feel like she just does everything. She's like RxJS, Angular, G, I don't, but amazing. And so I'm just gonna sit down, talk to her, and I just want to be friends. I think we're friends, but be more friends.
More friends.
So if you're around for that, please join us. And then I would love to make a ShirleyChats happen with Spies Pechen.
the Chinese girl.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. Bye bye.